That's right. Why should you have leadership and structure in your motorcycle club or riding group? Heck, man, why not just hang out and ride, man? Ride free, huh? Is all that structure necessary? Is leadership in a club necessary? What are the reasons? Those are the questions to be answered in part 2 of 2 here. We dove in deep in part 1. You better be ready for part 2 here. So, I got a question for you, Bikeaholic. Do you like to save money? Yeah, that's right, I'm talking to you. We here at Law Abiding Biker Media love to save money too. We recently made an awesome discovery. We want to pass the information on to you. Because let's face it, Bikeaholics, the more money we save, the more we can buy to put on our bike. Put your frickin' helmet on, I'm coming at you hard. That's right, 40 to 65% off GoPro, Under Armour, Columbia Sportwear, Mountain Hardwear, Sorel, Lifeproof, Otterbox, Backpackers Pantry, Crokies, and Crocs. That's right. Head over to lawabidingbiker.com/discount. Again, that's lawabidingbiker.com/discount. Take advantage of these deals, Bikeaholics. We worked hard to make this possible for you. Oh, and share this page with all your friends. By simply going to save some money, you're also supporting lawabidingbiker.com, and we thank you in advance. And now, straight from the Law Abiding Biker Media studio,
out of sunny Yakima, Washington,
we bring you another episode of the
#1 listen to motorcycle podcast.
We're in your head.
We're in your head.
We're in your head.
We're in your head.
Oh, yeah. That's right. Welcome back, you freaking Bikeaholics. This is the podcast for the Big MM, the motorcycle majority, also known as the 99%. That's right. Large and in charge of the motorcycle scene. It is a biker revolution, bitches. I just have one question before we get started, and it's a serious question. What are you waiting for, Bikeaholics? Mount up. Let me take you on another wild-ass ride. Let LD take you on a ride, and Jakey too. That's right, Ryan Erlacher here, your host of the Law Abiding Biker podcast. So glad you guys tuned back in to part 2 of 2. Of why should we have leadership and structure in a motorcycle club or riding group. GoPro raffle. Real quick, guys. It may be over by the time this airs, but I want to throw it out there anyways. Head over lawabidingbiker.com/GoPro. Up for grabs is a GoPro Hero 3 Silver, a $400 value. It's got touchscreen. It's got 4K capabilities. Awesome. We use them behind the scenes and for B-roll here at Lab Media. Limited to 100 tickets, $10 to enter, one entry per person. Again, limited to 100 tickets, $10 per entry, and you can only enter one time. When those 100 tickets are sold, that is right, we will draw from a hat, and some lucky winner, some Bikeaholic out there will be the proud owner of a GoPro Hero 3 Silver. Of course, take action, guys. Do it right now. You're holding your smartphone. It's right next to you. Go to your web browser. Do it. Do it. Take action. All the extra proceeds go right back in to put some fuel in the law-abiding biker gas tank so we can keep this going on down the road. All right, guys. We want to thank, real quick, got an announcement. He brings the show along with all the other patrons right to you so that you can hear it week after week. He wants to make a difference. He wants to make sure that the entire world gets on board with the biker revolution here at Law Abiding Biker Podcast and Media. That's John Hall. Newest patron. Thanks, John, for your support. If you want to become a patron, lawabidingbiker.com/Patreon, Patreon. You get some cool gifts. You get some benefits. And if you get to the certain tier over there, a certain level over there, you get immediate access, which like is the cost of a coffee per month, guys, to get in the private Facebook group where we talk about a whole bunch of behind the scenes stuff and we really get to know you. And we have a whole bunch of cool conversations over there anyways. And of course, we always appreciate the regular donations, lawabidingbiker.com/donate. All right, guys, this is part 2 of 2. We dove in deep in part 1. LD in the house, Jakey in the house, myself. We were live on chat. We had involvement from the group. If you guys want to get in, from the chat group, I should say, when we're live, of course, you're listening to this later, likely in podcast form, but we do the live show, lawabidingbiker.com/live. It's a live experience. It's raw. It's unplugged. It's unedited. You get to hear the screw ups. You get to hear extra stuff. If you want to experience that, it's worth your time and it works out. Get hooked up. If you want to be notified when we are going live and get an email that morning, you can go over to lawabidingbiker.com/live. On the upper right-hand corner of that page is a sign-up box. It takes you literally 5 seconds, name and email address. From then on out, you will get emails the morning of. When we are going live, there's a button there that just says listen live. When it gets about that time, you can just go to that email, hit the listen live button, and bam, you're on the page. You're chatting with us. You're involved with the show and all that kind of cool stuff. It's over there, guys, if you want to or have the time to experience that. We have a lot of fun over there, and especially the live chat and all that kind of stuff. But anyways, it is part 2 of 2. We're going to dive in deep. Hang on, get your helmets on. We don't want any injuries. All right, guys, let's dive right into part 2 of 2. Here's some obvious reasons you should have elected leaders and structure in your group or club. And again, just we're thinking motorcycle clubs in this particular podcast, guys, but you can really relate this to any car club, to a golf club, to a hunting club. It holds true all the way across the board. I will tell you, all organizations, successful businesses, Fortune 500 companies, they all have structure. They all have leadership for a reason. They aren't doing it because it's the cool thing to do. Imagine a Fortune 500 company just getting together one day and going, you know what? We don't need this structure and this leadership. Let's just all get together and see if this business will work. With no assigned roles, with no assigned assignments, with no accountability for where the money is, for no accountability of where the money's going, for no accountability on who shows up for work, I can go on and on with that list. It goes for any business, and both Rob and I have side businesses, and you have to have some sort of organization or accountability, and that's why these huge companies are doing it. They're not doing it because it's the newest, coolest thing to do. They've been doing it for decades. In fact, Fortune 500 companies became the way they are because they implemented leadership early on and structure.
And the right kind.
And the right kind. They did it right, and that's how they succeeded to becoming a Fortune 500 company. So that's a big scale topic, an example, but it holds true all the way down to a small motorcycle, law-abiding biker motorcycle club, I think. Obviously they saw something great when they started. They organized over time. They've, changed their ways. We're changing things here and there. It assures their future success in communications and their direction, and everybody knows where they're going and what their goals are. It does require leadership and structure, guys. It instills pride and brotherhood. Imagine the military. We said that a little bit. How about that, LD? Imagine the military. You show up for boot camp, or you show up for your first mission over in Afghanistan, and they're like, yeah, we don't really have a plan. So why don't you guys just grab your rifles, head on out on the bottom, and shoot some shit up.
Go get that.
Just shoot some shit up.
I just yell America like that. America,
dude. Oh yeah, just shoot it up. All right.
In this country too, like you're talking about with the finances and stuff, trying to get nonprofit or 501c3 status. If you're applying for that kind of status, you have to form some kind of a structure. It's required by law in this country, at least. And so some of these clubs that really become successful, whether it be a club or a motorcycle club or a scholarship foundation, there still has to be some kind of structure like that.
Right. You're absolutely right. And that's a great topic, because why does the government in the United States require us to have leadership. Okay, if you guys apply for a 501c3, a nonprofit here in the United States, they require you to have a president, to have a vice president. They require you a board of directors. They have you, and they require you to have monthly meetings and to keep copies of your notes. Are they requiring that for fun, Jake? Why are they requiring that?
Accountability, really.
Right. You're handling money. You're an organization. They don't want you to fail.
Right.
They know that without some kind of structure, if they don't mandate it, that you will fail. You will mismanage your nonprofit funds. You will not be able to be audited because you didn't have meetings about it. You won't know where your money's going because you didn't have meetings about it. They recognize that if you're going to be nonprofit, that you are going to have structure and accountability. Some sort of, let's do a little bit of this. This show, guys, that's right. It is brought to you. The reason you're listening to this right now live, or you're listening in your headphones, or you're listening, that's right, you that's running with your iPhone right now and earbuds in. That's right, you in your car listening to us. That's right, you on a nice little stroll with your little puppy dog. That's right, you. Look at yourself. That's right. Why don't you thank some of our people that are making this show possible, this content, giving us the motivation and the resources to research stuff like this. All right, go ahead, Jakey. We want to thank some donators real quick. Go, roll on down.
Mueller Service and Repair of Bell Vernon, Pennsylvania.
John Spearin of Cumberland, Rhode Island.
Mike Ferrari of Citrus Heights, California.
Robert Davis of Anaheim Hills, California.
Gregory Ulrich of Allentown, Pennsylvania.
Richard Richardson of Cape Coral, Florida.
Keith Harris of, looks like,
Kona, Hawaii. Yeah, Robert Larian of Santa Barbara, California.
And Doug Love of Richmond, Hawaii?
Richmond Hill. Richmond Hill. All right. God bless every single one of you that takes the time to donate. If you want to donate, lawabidingbiker.com/donate.
Did we literally have a shop donate to us? What was that first one?
We did.
That's awesome.
That is. Isn't that awesome? Mueller Service and Repair of Bell Vernon, Pennsylvania. And if you guys want to donate, lawabidingbiker.com/donate helps put a little fuel in the Law Abiding Biker gas tank so we can make sure this thing keeps going on down the road. We can keep bringing you guys services like this live service that we have to pay to stream to you guys. That's just one example of the expenses that goes into creating all this content. Yep, that's right. Thank you, all of you. They are the reason you're listening to this very episode. Let's talk about this real quick. My experience, and it may be yours too, looking at a group that is riding together or a hunting group. You guys have been involved in it, Rob. I know you have too. In little groups, whether it's at work or whether it's a group of guys that you're snow skiing with or snowboarding. Tell me if I'm wrong. There is already leadership within that little group. You've got somebody that already has different skills than you. You already have somebody that has input. There's some of those group that go snowboarding more involved than others. There's some that want more people to come snowboarding with you. There's some that always head up the snowboard trips that are responsible for buying people's tickets. There's help with tech stuff and websites. There's mechanical abilities. There's riding skills. Some help with organizing events. There's mentors with new group members that come into the snowboarding that are mentoring them and teaching them. There are some that are good with conflict resolution when a conflict may come up between people. The more you hang out, the more these things will become recognized and flourish. They happen. It is human nature. It's going to happen in any group. It just may not be official, but I guarantee that group in India, it's already happening. We already see it because he that sent me the email is already taking on trying to organize this group.
And clearly has some kind of leadership role.
There you go. What say you, Rob, about all this in these groups of people that have never thought about becoming organized? Have you seen this before in your life experiences?
Yeah, there's natural leaders. I mean, you look at your shift, say the sergeant goes home early. There's no sergeant on duty.
For LE job.
Yeah.
Right.
And I mean, yeah, granted that you make somebody the watch commander or whatever, but there's sometimes a clear leader that's maybe not the senior guy, which is the watch commander by contract or whatever.
There's the go-to guys.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you think that that's even true, like with a group of friends? I mean, in high school, I hung out with a group. There's 4 of us, and there was clearly one that was the most outspoken of the group, and everybody kind of
Had all
followed
the bad
compared to
ideas.
others. Yeah, I mean, you're right. It's human nature. People will follow somebody that they want to, the most charismatic, the guy with the most experience. Just depends.
Right. And in that structure, though, that unorganized, let's call it right now, structure, do you think there's people that are stepping up the plate to do certain things?
There are. It's just, without it being, I guess, set in stone, what's to stop you from, or not set in stone, but really verbalized or organized, if one little thing could set that thing completely off. And that would be my concern with that. But yeah, people step up and do things all the time, groups.
Right. Like our group, if we weren't a structured club, Rob
I obviously am the leader. I mean, fuck.
Right. Well, definitely. Yeah. You got leadership written on your freaking forehead. I'm going to stamp leader on your forehead. But again, very good with, LD's very good with organizing. And that's why he's organizing, for law-abiding biker media. This is outside the club because we do a lot of things that are outside the club. But he's organizing the summer, patron meetup. And there's also going to be a meetup for regular. We're going to have a special patron meetup for patrons.
Yeah, about that regular meetup, we're having a hard time finding locations. It might just have to be a Safeway parking lot and go on a ride for one day or something.
And what LD's referring to is outside the patron, we're going to have a regular meetup for people that just want to meet, but they are not patrons. It's going to be still a really awesome experience. But like he's saying, the patrons are going to get brought somewhere where we really secured, and it's a real private type event for our very personal patrons over there at Patreon. If you want to get involved, lawabidingbikers.com/Patreon, Patreon. But we will have a regular meetup for the folks that just want to, meet us and aren't necessarily patrons. The rest, I should say, and it's going to be a little more informal, but we may not have a location. It may be just meet up in a parking lot and then go for a little ride and maybe shoot the shit a little bit and whatnot. But details will come with that, and locations and all that kind of stuff.
We're going to have different rides planned for different days, etc. But I think a day we're not going into national parks and shit like that, where we're just going somewhere. So probably a Deadwood day would be a good day to get everybody together. Meet at the, Safeway parking lot or the, Walmart parking lot in, wherever, and meet up in the southwest corner of the parking lot. We'll meet up there where kickstand's up at 10. You're not there. Screw you. You're on your own. Try and catch up. Right. Yeah. So there you go. That's what I'm talking about, Rob. Very, very good at organizing stuff and being involved in that. So he's in charge of a lot of that within our club. But even if we weren't a club, he would still be doing that because he's good at it and we would use him for it. Right. We've got other guys with other skills in our club. I'm the high-tech redneck, right? I take care of a ass load of our technical stuff aside from law-abiding biker stuff. LD has some very pronounced, I should say, very good skills in mechanical type stuff, so we use each person.
As does Oscar.
Right. So
and Rick.
I guarantee, yeah. So I guarantee in this 50 group of guys over in India, I guarantee they're already seeing this, and it would be interesting to look over that group as an outsider and just hang out for a couple weeks and ride with them. And I guarantee I'd be able to say, that guy's good at this, that guy's good at this guy's definitely in charge. Yeah. Even though nobody said he's in charge, he's in charge.
Yeah, the in charge guy is within the first day or two riding with him. You'd be able to figure that out.
Yeah.
So I say, why not put those people, just get it going?
Use them.
Because what's going to happen if you assign the role to them officially? They're going to be more motivated to do that role.
Right. Or if you say, hey, if your club was to go this route, hey, so-and-so, you're in charge of taking care of all the bikes, maintenance-wise or whatever, and he's not the maintenance guy.
Right.
Bullshit. Use your guys. Use them. That's what they're there for.
Absolutely.
But you almost have to have a president that can differentiate who can do what and assign those duties.
Right. Exactly. The conductor again. All right. Awesome. So I say to a club like that already has all those leaders in place and they aren't willing to admit it, that they're cowering down. No, I'm teasing, but they're just in denial. You're seeing it. You know what's happening, and you cannot deny it. The only thing you are lacking is actually just verbally admitting these things that we've discussed and recognize the leaders and their roles as a positive influence on your club. Give people some titles. Tell them they're good at ride planning. Tell them they're good at mechanical abilities. Use their services. Refer other people in your riding group to those resources when needed. It will increase their motivation. They will have a positive attitude, and things will go smoother from there on. That is what I say. Go ahead.
I like your leadership 101. That's
you go.
That's first level supervision.
Isn't it though?
Right there. It's
but so many people don't get it.
Give people responsibility.
Tell them they're good at it.
Let them do it, and they like it, and they're more productive when you do that.
Absolutely. Smart companies know that if you treat people right and you give them the responsibilities and you reward them for their good work, they will work. They might not even leave for another job sometimes. They've done research on that because they feel important within their role within an organization, and they are treated respectfully for their role. That goes a long ways towards a positive attitude and influences within your club that already has the structure there. You just haven't put a patch on him yet, or you haven't put a label in his head yet that, hey, Rob, you are going to be the ride planner for the club. You think, I mean, tell me, if we have a club right now, which we do, but we're just starting, and us three are sitting down for the first time and we're getting to know each other, and I look at Rob and I say, Rob, you are awesome at ride planning. I've ridden with you before. Will you be the ride planner captain of this club? How is he going to take that role?
Very seriously.
Is he going to be like, in his mind, Supervisor 101 right here, right. In his mind, is he going to go, what? Dang, that's really cool. That guy recognizes that I'm good at it.
You know what I'm going to say?
He said I'm good at it.
Good, I can organize the beer stops.
Yeah. No doubt, dude. But
that's part of your motivation right
with
there.
That right there.
That is his only motivation. Mm-hmm. All right. So, and that's not, necessarily you can say, well, that's playing to somebody's ego. It's not. I'm not making up that he's a good ride planner. I'm just telling him, reaffirming that he is good at it and that I recognize that he's good at it. And he's going to take that role much more seriously now.
And that you trust him to do it.
And I trust, there you go. Good. Let's talk. Yeah. Throw those things in. Yeah, exactly. He immediately knows that I trust him. He may not have known that before, right? If we're just a group of guys and we have no leadership or structure and we haven't identified positions, then Rob doesn't really, I mean, that right there, does that not instill some sort of brotherhood immediately? Like, wow, some respect. Ryan stood up and said I was good at this. So, remember, they feel it empowers. We'll use those tag words. Empowers your members immediately to do greater things than just a riding group. They're going to be empowered to take things to the next level, which we're always trying to do here at Law Abiding Biker Media. All right. Recognized for their skills and told so, they will work harder to make a difference within the club. It gives members a purpose. So they're probably going to stick around if they have a purpose, right?
Yes.
What else you got, LD?
No,
right.
I think you're right. I think that put somebody in charge of something, and if they can see the benefit of it, the benefit that the guys are enjoying themselves on the ride or whatever. And that's what I do it for. We had a guy ride with us last year. It's not a member of the club, but he's been on quite a few rides with us. And he said it's the best vacation he's ever taken. And the guy's 52. And he says, it's the first vacation I've gone on since I was 19. It's when he had his first set of kids or whatever. He says, first vacation I went on, I didn't have to worry about the wife. I didn't have to worry about the kids. Because, hell, I didn't have to worry about where we were staying or where we were eating. He goes, I just followed you guys. It was great. And so that, and he can't wait to go with us again this summer. So that right there gives me some satisfaction that people are actually enjoying themselves and taking away the work of all the planning and all that kind of stuff. And I enjoy doing it anyway. So Rick's actually really good at it. Him and I have been working on our stretch from after Sturgis.
Out Rick Kane?
Pittsburgh.
Oh, cool.
Out to Pittsburgh and back. Because he's going to ride and meet us in Sturgis that last day.
That's right.
So him and I have been working on that. And so he's pretty good at that ride planning stuff too. So anyway, I enjoy that because knowing that the guys are enjoying themselves, that's what brings satisfaction to me.
That's awesome. See? Awesome insight, man. All right. What comes with organization and leadership? Let's just talk about the raw group that is not, let's say this group in India of 50 guys, and they start implementing some structure like we've led up to at this point. What's going to come with leadership, Jake?
Well, it's, like you have here, it's identity. They're going to start to have pride in what they're doing, pride in themselves.
Right.
And
some branding.
Logos, patches.
Right.
All that kind of thing.
Really?
And what comes with logos and patches and branding, right? Because if you're going to start an official club from this 50 guys, immediately that's going to create some pride.
And it's
some belonging.
Yeah.
Responsibility.
Right.
Very good.
And feeling like they're part of a brotherhood that not everybody can be part of, and give them a sense of pride in it.
Right. Maybe they belong to something elite now.
Right.
It makes it a whole, it takes it to the next level completely in a big, big way once you start branding yourself with something specific that only you and your guys can wear and nobody else can wear.
And they're experiencing things that only them and their brotherhood experiences.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, very good point. Experiencing those things. Everyone feels tighter as a group immediately when you're bonding like that, when you're recognizing each other's skills, when you're patched up now, when you have a common logo, all those kinds of things. Just the bonding that goes along, LD, with creating the logo. You know?
Oh, yeah. I mean, and that's
'Cause everybody's gonna have a
another
say.
thing is most of us aren't, graphics design people. We hired out some of that stuff, but we had an idea. This is what we want in it, but we hired it out. But who knows, if he's got 50 or 60 guys in India, he might have somebody that's a graphic design guy. But to know that and know each other well enough to know who can do that or who's responsible enough or good at it to do that, draw from your strengths of the people.
I think like with what you guys did too, they need to, you need to pick something they all identify with and that they can be proud of too. And having that organization is going to be necessary to do it.
Well said. All right. So do you think, I guess, and within that, you could make committees even, which empowers people. You're the logo committee. You're our brand. You're going to design our patches. We're all going to vote on it, but right? It's committees within a structured organization empowers people.
Right. We designed our patch or got the ideas for it with 4 guys. Can you imagine 60 guys having input? You'd never get a decision made.
Exactly. You have to come out with several designs, 3 different designs. Here's what
Let's
you get
vote.
to pick with. Vote, right?
Pick your top get it down to the top 3 and let's vote. Something like that.
How would it be if you went to work tomorrow, Jake, and you didn't have your patch on and your logo and it was just a bunch of guys wearing whatever they wanted and you went out and did your job? How would that affect you guys?
Oh man.
No more patches. You guys just wear jeans and t-shirts.
And no badges either.
Nothing.
It just
nothing to identify you.
It's what sets you apart. What's especially in our job, it's without that you just can't. You couldn't even function.
Right.
That's what it would come down to.
Well, presence is one of your biggest, things.
But yeah,
in law enforcement.
Right. Right. Aside from that, though, let's use another example. But you're right. Let's just say it's a sports team.
Oh.
We're going to be a professional football team tomorrow, us 3, and we're going to get some other guys.
Okay, Ryan, no offense here, but you have no standing talking about
You haven't seen my spiral. You haven't seen my spiral. All right. So, I guess, so we get a group of guys together. Let's just say, get a group of guys together and you have the money and you're going to start an NFL team.
You're going to buy the baseball bat,
right.
You're going to buy the bats.
You're going to buy home base,
and
right, and catcher's mitt and all that. You're going to...
What you're going to put on the helmet, yeah.
But you get together with all those guys and you go, you know what? We're going to compete at a high level here, but there's not going to be any logos. We're not going to wear uniforms. We're not going to have structure. We're not going to have leadership, but by God, we're going to win the Super Bowl, guys. How do you think that's going to pan out?
Oh yeah, that wouldn't happen.
Why?
First of all, the logos and things give the people their identity, but there's got to be organization so you have a common purpose. Because if you don't have somebody kind of steering that common purpose, this is, common purpose, common goals, you're going to have 45, you could have 45 guys with 45 different goals, or you could have 45 guys with 5 different goals.
Oh, well
It still
said.
doesn't work. You got to have one goal and steer it that way.
Very good. And they get those uniforms and that logo. Hoo-wah, right?
Right. Sense of
Immediate
pride.
bonding. So we can break it down to any sports team. They would likely never improve or get better, would they? Because they wouldn't have a plan to get better. They would be like, we're not sure how to get better. Well, who's in charge of that? Well, we don't know because we don't have any structure and we don't have any leaders to tell us.
Yeah, they'd be unorganized.
Right. Totally unorganized. Absolutely. The same holds true for motorcycle clubs, guys. It's no different than a sports team. We've talked about that in the past. So with leadership and structure in your club comes all the stuff that you're obviously going to have to take care of, but they're very important to the structure of your club. You might already be doing some of it, right? So his club of 50 guys are out posting about their rides, whatever they want, wherever they want. I mean, okay, you're not wearing a patch, but you're still involved with being posted everywhere. And maybe some of those people don't have the same values as you and how you want to be represented online. And so
Somebody puts a cut on a stripper, that'd be horrible.
right. Yeah, horrible.
Who?
Strippers are horrible.
You talked about a club that they took a picture with some 1%er or something, right?
Oh, well, there's been several, clubs that have done that in the past.
Something like that, At the end of the day, the president's got to say, hey, shit, guys, get that off the website or whatever. We got to control this.
But even if you're not, let's just say there's 50 group of guys and they don't have a cut yet and they're getting ready they haven't organized and they don't want to organize, you're still hanging out with those 50 guys, and those guys you're hanging out can post something with you that there's no control is what I'm saying. So with that leadership and that structure is going to come professionalism. There's going to come website guidelines and how you're going to portray yourself online and your social media. And, we in our club know we're not going to post ridiculous stuff like that. We're not going to, the correspondence, the way you interact with other clubs that may contact you, how they view you, all that you don't have with a group of guys if you're not structured. Just that 50 group of guys, who knows who's getting emails? Hey, we see your group of guys and we see this problem, or we see this, or we want to get together with you. How do you, even organize something like that if you don't have the structure? So with that structure comes those social media type things, some responsibility, some correspondence, rules on how you can carry yourself, right? We've already talked about a lot of that, exceptions and emergencies when somebody can step in, assures the club stays away from negative attention. So there you go. We don't know a group of guys that has no structure, how they're going to stay away from negative attention when there's really no rules and anybody can post something negative within that group or say something, within that group. Am I making sense there?
Yeah.
Jakey?
I think so, yeah.
Are you feeling what I'm laying down?
Gotcha.
All right, that was for Lurch. All right, these things are, of course, all these things that we're talking about, the beautiful thing is they are routinely discussed at monthly meetings. That every company, every Fortune 500, Lab Media right here, Law Abiding Biker Media has it. I have to get together. Me and Lurch have meetings. I've had meetings with you guys about certain, or planning the Patreon stuff, So every organization has to have regular meetings. It gives the club direction, visions, and it keeps everything on track. Without those meetings and required meetings, there is no way that you can have any sense of direction or know where you came from or know where you're going. Any additions to that?
Now you've got to have contact, I think. I
right.
agree.
And so you're keying off getting together for meetings as contact.
Right.
Right? Okay.
You talked a little bit about direction, and it's not necessarily that the president sets the direction, but he holds the course to that direction that the club sets.
Right. And
exactly right.
Yeah. And I didn't even schedule our last meeting. Lurch did. But somebody's, it can be delegated. It really doesn't matter. The point is, you can make sure that there's regular meetings and you get-togethers happen. It's forced, because you belong to this club now and you're structured, you're going to be get together more. Some attendance rules can be mandated, of course, within caution. I caution to family matters and work requirements, of course. We have things written in our bylaws. If a guy absolutely can't physically attend, he is allowed, but he needs to attend a minimum amount, but he can attend via Skype. So, use technology in your club, FaceTime, Skype, but he can't do that for every meeting unless there's extenuating circumstances. But a certain percentage of his meetings, he can Skype in. Because we all work different schedules, we recognize that. So we had to build some of those safeguards. It's absolutely impossible to get every single one of us off together at one night, especially as we grow.
In our line of work, we don't work 9 to 5, Monday through Friday.
Right, exactly. And even getting live here is hard, So, think about those things. Use your technology and Skype and things like that. At least they can get some FaceTime and it counts as a meeting. But I wouldn't allow that at every meeting, which again is why we don't allow nomads in our club, because we've talked about that in the past. You can refer to the past episodes. We don't allow nomads. You got to be part of the brotherhood and be at meetings, and we got to physically see you and hang out with you. So physical attendance, I would say, is the most important, actually being physically present, because these meetings, right, communications stay open and ongoing this way, right? We have a good line of communication so far in this club, Jake. If you say no, I'll grab your cut right now.
Oh, yeah. I think that's clear. I mean...
Oh, that was for me. All right, so that is right. Quick break, guys. We'll get right back into it. These people you can thank. They're bikers just like you. from all over the world, making sure that this show ends up on your smartphone or your computer or wherever you're listening from every single week. They want to get the content out to the entire world. They want to be involved with the biker revolution over here at Law Abiding Biker Media. That's right. Stephen Baber of Sanford, North Carolina, thank you for your donation. Gary Zakarin of New York, New York. Shout out New York. Michael Holtz of Hoffman Estates, Illinois. Darren Knight of Landsborough, Queensland, Australia. Shout out Australia, all the listeners and supporters over there from all around the world. That's right. Get involved. lawabidingbiker.com/donate. Make sure to put a little fuel in the Law Abiding Biker gas tank so we can keep this thing headed on down the road and we can put new tires on it when we need to. Thank you so much for your support. Take action now, guys. We appreciate it. Let's get back into the episode. We had a Christmas party, right?
Yeah, great time.
Instills more brotherhood. We had just about everybody there. We're lucky because I've said it in the past, one of the best things that ever happened to our club, although this is a side business, Law Abiding Biker Podcast and Media is separate from the club. We talk about the club sometimes, but it's separate. But it forces us, because we're all involved in it anyways, it forces us to get together on a regular basis to spit these podcasts, and we bond. And look at the stuff we get to talk about. We really, I've learned a lot just, from you over the past, bringing up stuff in Rob in podcasts, because we actually are forced to talk about stuff. So there's all different ways you can do that. We didn't do the podcast for that reason, but it's certainly a wonderful benefit that we've been the recipients of since we started doing that, and probably wouldn't have it any other way. So you can make sure regular meetings and get together and all that kind of, we talked about that. Physical attendance is important. We see, okay, here's one. And we see too many sloppy, and we're not talking bad about any clubs. Okay. You run the clubs the way you want. We're going to hang with you. We're going to ride with you as long as you're doing law abiding stuff. It's just not our ideologies, but we see a lot of sloppy, what we consider sloppy motorcycle clubs these days with members on paper only. We touched on that a little bit. They lack structure, leadership, and bylaws, of course. That's the root we know of their problem. So let's skip over that. But obviously, we just feel that they lack some structure, some leadership. How can you have brotherhood with a member on paper? We, breezed over that a little bit. Likely bought their colors. We know that. Just some things that if you're starting a club and you're interested in getting some structure, again, back to our philosophy, do it right the first time. Take your time with doing all that. So, all right, here in the U.S., we talked about this, so we'll skip over that 501c3. Yep, again, we got it. You got to have structure, so that would be another glaring point to having that. So, let's go with that summary. Let's go with anything else. This is just a round table of any issues or additional information that you want to talk about, guys. We can have a round table here. Any advice? Come on, give some advice, guys, to the club over in India.
Well, don't think
some advice. Start right, do this. Come on.
Don't anything. Think of right here, right now. Think of where you want to be in 5 years from now and write the bylaws pertaining to that. We didn't think, okay, this is how we want to be right now. Well, let's write the bylaws for us, and then we can adapt them later. No, we wrote them for future clubs or chapters coming in so that we knew exactly how that process was going to go once it presented itself. We had that all set up ahead of time. And that was easy because then we could refer to the bylaws and follow the steps and get it done.
Yeah, and I agree. I think that I've brought up the whole fraternity thing a lot, and it probably sounds kind of ridiculous to some people, but
sorority,
but honestly, this is, it's so, I guess how some of these, especially this group kind of, it mirrors and parallels the way that went for me. The probationary period you talk about, there are fraternities out there who basically you pledge and you get initiated the next day. And when I was in, you were in for at least the first semester and partway into the second before you got initiated. And there's all kinds of stuff you had to do. And granted, it was stupid.
Did you get tarred and feathered?
Not tarred and feathered. But
well, you're going to get tarred and feathered with our club.
There's a lot of other things. But you talk about unanimous vote. You talk about probationary period.
Did they tell you about this?
Guys. About
that initiation? It
was actually a sheep.
So to go on about initiation, so you get initiated?
Yeah, but it's not given to you. It's something that they had to earn, and the vote's unanimous with the group. And you're talking about the longevity. This is a group that's been in existence. My specific one has been in existence since 1926, and I'm still close friends with, we have a reunion every year. And this, I've been out of college for 20 years. and that's the kind of thing that
Jesus, how old are you?
Jeez.
old enough. But that's the kind of thing that this could not have happened, without that kind of organization. It's important. And I think that's true with any kind of club, that structure and organization, nothing can succeed without it.
I will say, and this is where I'm going to get in a little deeper here, because we work for government, and I'm not afraid to say the government is not a well-oiled machine whatsoever. It has a lot of waste, and it doesn't do things right. And if you're looking at leadership, and we've talked a little bit about military leadership, militaristic leadership versus club leadership, right? Where in a military zone or a war zone, you're going to have to make orders that can cost people lives, and they need to be made now. That can also, go into the LE world a little bit. But I will say, this is where I think government fails, and speak up if you think I'm wrong. I think government fails with leadership, especially where we work, is that your supervisors are not elected. Your supervisors are not voted on. Your supervisors take a test, and again, we won't get into, okay, great, there's civil service rules, I get it, but all those have been established over time.
Hey, book smarts do not equate to common sense.
Agreed.
Right.
Just because a guy gets, and granted, I'm saying this from a guy who's been promoted off of a kind of list like this, but
right, so that's the way it is.
Yeah, I also agree that just because a guy gets number one on a test doesn't mean he's going to do the best job.
Right. And so do you think it's fair to say that if we were to change, and we're never going to change it, but if we were to change, where we work, and you had to run it like a motorcycle club, a traditional club where, the people that we want in leadership roles, forget about pay, forget about unions, Kate, we're just saying just broad, for conversation purposes. If we were able to change that tomorrow and say, from now on, the worker bees are going to elect the leaders, and there's going to be elections every 2 years, and you can, if that leader isn't doing good, then you can reelect. Forget about pay, forget about everything. Okay, and the people, the worker bees, elected their leaders. Do you think that the government would be so much more productive, and guys would work so much harder? And do you think those leaders would be, for the most part, not all of them, but the leaders would be that much more inclined to have good leadership abilities, not only because they're elected and they may want to stay in that position, but number two, they feel empowered because people elected them to lead them?
Yeah, that's the kind of guy
thoughts.
You want to follow, a guy that you've got faith in and will back you up, or will, depending on the size of your department. I'd like a chief that's not afraid to come back me on a felony stop and pull his gun out and stand next to me.
Right.
You get up to 100+ man department or something like that. That might not be reasonable, but in my size department, 30 guys, 35 guys, that's the kind of chief I want. I mean, I'm not asking him to be out there every day, but occasionally show up. Let's see your face on the patrol. It's a different, sitting in the office is one thing. I don't want a desk jockey as a chief. I want somebody who's going to come out once in a while,
Right.
It would fight complacency. I'm telling you that. I think that's, as scary as the idea could be, being a popularity contest in certain situations, I'm telling you, it would keep you from being complacent in that role, or you would lose your spot in 2 years.
Exactly. And maybe in 2 years, you weren't really into it that much more, or your life changed. See, the way the system set up now is a leader can be in there for 30 years until he retires, and he can do a measly job. There needs to be, and with elections like that, there can be an out for somebody, that says, I'm not into it anymore. I've got family stuff going on, whatever. And the new hottest leader that the people want, I just don't understand, I guess, how government got sucked into a system, at our particular careers, where you just take a test and that person's considered a leader when nobody really wants that person as a leader, and they don't respect him. That's a system destined to fail, and it does fail every day in our industry.
Yeah, it's a paramilitary model, is what I think it falls down to.
Yeah, it is. It is, and who knows at some point whether that can change. I doubt it, because the government never changes anything, even if it's not working. But
sheriffs are the only thing that come around close to that because they actually do have to go through an election.
Well, yeah, the sheriff, the actual sheriff.
But not the sergeant and the captain and
right.
everybody else, yeah.
I guess what we get out of that to a certain extent is don't do that in your club. Don't appoint people to those positions. You can have appointed positions like committee. If somebody wants to step up and say, I want to be a committee member, okay, we appoint you. Those are temporary, type stuff in a sense that they're very temporary. I don't know if there's any clubs that run that way. Have you heard of any of that where they run more militaristic law-abiding biker clubs where they aren't elected positions, where the actual, appointed, from the start, and that guy's just always going to be president? You know of anything like that, LD?
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, me either.
So I guess I would caution, people out there, don't set your club up that way. I would be very hesitant to appoint anybody, in the first 4 positions. Now we do appoint road captain and sergeant at arms, but again, we have safeguards in place for that and can be unappointed at any time. Again, that power and that structure. So, all right. So I say to this club, and we're going to do a roundhouse, but I say stop wasting time. Just organize the group, and so you continue to exist. It sounds like you guys got a good thing going on over there. I think you would be worse off not organizing. I think you can only gain massive, massive benefits if you just start doing it the way a traditional club does. It is a lot of work, a lot of dedication. LD, you have any input on that? Because you were involved in the very founding days of the Sworn Few.
Well, with 60 or 65 guys, they're going to have to whittle it down to committees. You're going to have your bylaw committee or whatever. I mean, there's no way with 60 or 65 guys you're going to be able to get it. You're not going to ever get a product. And then I guess you'd have to go to a meeting. The problem is for us, we started with 4 guys.
Right, right.
And we were able to sit down and get this all figured out and move along. Well, with 60 guys initially, you're almost going to have a committee that writes those bylaws and then brings them back, and you're almost going to have to vote on them in sections or something at a meeting. I don't know how else you'd do it.
Right.
You could vote on the package, I guess, but you're going to have to, you're going to have to hope that everybody read them and went through them. I mean, I guess it'd be like, okay, president, how that position's appointed, how it can be removed, yada, yada, read through it. All those in favor, all, against, whatever. I don't know.
Right. So, Jake, you can throw in on this too. What's your suggestion with a group that big? Of course, we started small, which is the best way to do it because elections were really easy. We want you as president. Hey, you want to be vice president? Yeah. But this club, I would say, is the first thing that they should do right now. What's the first thing that they should do if you were in that position? Should they start writing bylaws, or should they immediately elect their 4 top officers and then move into stuff? LD, if you have an answer for this question too. I have my opinions, but
my personal opinion is bylaws are extremely important, but I think electing those 4 officers would be important to do right off the bat because that's going to organize that process. And I think, and appointing committees from them.
I agree.
Yeah, I was going to say somebody's got to guide the process.
So our suggestion is to them is go ahead, or to any club that's huge, with 50 guys, you really need to establish, and elections can be held easy. You don't even have to know who's in, just get a committee together that runs the elections, and you do that. And then I think you can really dive in and start, going from there and writing your bylaws and stuff like that. So, all right, we will say, don't take it lightly. It is a ton of work. It can be very, very rewarding, and it is very rewarding. Understand the costs for startup and remind me some of the costs.
Well, attorneys, if you want to organize your 501c3.
Which we had to do, and we're still working on to finalize everything.
Graphic design.
For your patches.
That was a couple $100. I don't know. I think it was about $800 for each of the 4 of us to get it going.
To get started, and then it was more after that, right? Ongoing.
I think
website, web server fees.
Yeah, to get us up and running, I think it cost us about $1,000 each, about $4,000.
Yep.
I mean, that's just a guess. I know every meeting we were needing money. I knew that.
Yep. Good call. And so, yeah, I just understand there are some costs, and guys, you can minimize them. I mean, if you're not getting a logo right away, then don't worry. If you're not going to do a 501c3, a lot of that can be minimized, of course.
Maybe they have an attorney in these 60 guys.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. Yeah, good point. Maybe you got a guy
accountant.
that can, that would be helpful.
Yeah, that 501 status is, I've been trying to get it for something work related for a while. My brother's an accountant, and he won't touch it.
Yeah.
He won't touch anything like that. I mean, you've got to have an attorney.
Well, we
a
used
tax attorney.
LegalZoom,
Yeah.
and it cost us $400 or $500.
And they're not the fastest, we found out.
Not at all.
They're not the fastest, guys. We could have paid a lot more money and got an attorney and had it by now.
Right.
But we went the LegalZoom route, and so be careful. But anyways, yeah. Or look, the other alternative is if you want to start a club and you have 60 guys, just look at, which we originally did, you can look at joining an already established motorcycle club, which will cut costs. They're already established. You could start your own chapter, if depending on the club and what they want, of your own 50 or 60 guys. Now, that wouldn't work with us. We only allow, you got to start with a core group of 6, and then you can grow.
Four to six.
4 to 6, right?
You know, for a guy that's got guys already worried about losing control, that wouldn't work for them.
You think?
Hell no. If they've already got some bylaws and they wouldn't be able to ride them the way they want them, guys aren't going to buy off.
Oh,
on
right.
that. Yeah.
But they don't have bylaws yet.
Well, what I'm saying is you don't have any bylaws. You go from guys that don't want to be a member of a club to joining some other club that's already established and already has bylaws, and you have no say-so on how you're going to affect those bylaws. That wouldn't work for them.
I see what you're saying.
They'd lose guys. I mean,
Right.
I'm not saying it's, maybe those guys aren't needed, but I mean, they'd lose guys over something like that.
Yeah, organizing like that, if that's as strong a feeling as what he's talking about having, they may lose 25% of what they've got. I mean, we never know.
Good call. Good discussion. Yeah. If you're a smaller group, though, 6 or 7 guys, it might be more tangible to join another club. I would caution you to make sure that it's a club that you actually like everything about it. If you don't like everything about it, don't join it. And it's going to be hard to find that, which is why we just ended up starting our own club, because we wanted to do it our way, and have our specific ideologies and the way we conduct business. In summary, guys, clear-cut evidence, I think, that we've explained. We haven't really brought up the negatives. I think there's clear-cut evidence that structure and leadership within organizations and motorcycle clubs works and is necessary for long-term success. Can you guys, I mean, that's that's how I lined it out. I look for some negatives. I don't see a lot of negatives for leadership in a motorcycle club. I can't, if there was one, it would be so outweighed by the positives.
The only negative, in my opinion, would be if you really had a bad person in a spot that he shouldn't be in. But if you had good bylaws, there should be a method to take care of that issue.
Yeah, if you had a president, I guess that was just ramming stuff down your throat. But, I mean, these guys don't even know that yet. They haven't tried,
Right.
So, I think that like you said, the cost versus benefit analysis.
Right.
Get a leadership.
Return of investment.
Right.
Mm-hmm. The ROI, guys.
No question.
It does not hinder groups. It brings them together. We see it. We've already explained to you in the companies and businesses and groups. I will say, if you care about your brothers, if you're in that environment and you really care about these 50 brothers and you want a tighter bond and you want to make sure you exist as a group long time to come, then we all three here, I think, say, get organized now. Get off the pot. Take a poop or get off the pot.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Take the next step. I will say, some of the arguments might be, okay, maybe some of those people in that group are in, like we say, a little bit bigger group than they expected. And, you'll find out real quick, you might lose some, and that might be some of his concern. I say, I don't know their culture and I don't know, how tight they are, but you might have to lose a few. And I think you alluded to that, Rob, a little bit. You might shave some off initially, but I guarantee every single one of them in the bottom of their back of their brain after you get established is going to be going, was that a good decision? And maybe they'll come later.
Come crawling back. Tail between your legs.
But again, that's not worrying about the numbers, right?
Right.
If there's only 6 that want to come along with you, then just do those 6.
Yep. Quality over quantity.
And then let those other guys do their riding like they want to.
And you'll see they'll fall apart.
Yep.
They will dissipate and you guys will still be together. So I say, if those guys are in that, and you just want to ride with 1 or 2 and there's these little cliques within, then why are you even with this bigger group? Just go get one other guy and it will probably work without structure, because that's called just a friend. That's not called a group or an organization. That's you and a buddy. Might work. The reason you're there, or the reason those guys are still there that maybe only want to ride with a few guys, I'm telling you, because deep down, they want to belong to something bigger than themselves. Deep down, that's what they're in. That's why they're riding with 50 guys, or they still wouldn't be doing it today. Even if they don't agree with some of the things, they're there because they want something bigger than themselves. They want to belong to a group. It is basic human behavior. I say stop denying it.
Mike Petrie says at this point, it's a must that they form a group. He says, find 6 guys that share your vision, form up, and allow them to apply for membership.
God.
That's actually not a bad idea, how to organize at the beginning with those guys.
Say that again. Really Sorry. Go with that. I missed it.
So Mike Petrie on the chat says, find 6 guys that share your vision, form up, and allow them to apply for membership. And he's saying the rest of the people apply for membership.
Oh, yeah. See, and that's from a live chat, Mike Petrie, guys. So that's, coming. That's what I love, the interaction. So you have other bikers out here telling you, to basically do it. And that's some good advice. Maybe just do your 6, and then as you can, then you can bring people on board. So, all right. Thanks you all, the chat room and the live guys, for being involved and the feedback and for sticking with us. Any last final thoughts, words of wisdom, or anything like that, guys?
I guess for me, it's just, I think this is so important that they do it. I can't get my mind around being part of an organization that doesn't have some kind of structure. It just doesn't work.
Yep. And we've seen it. And even organizations with structure, if they're not set up right, fail or have problems. So that's the key. Any last words, LD?
No. Needs to get going on this, or they're going to fall apart around him.
Absolutely. Amen. You got it straight here from the law-abiding biker crew. You got it from the audience. You got it from people in the chat room. You got it from other bikers. There is no doubt you need to take it to the next level and make it happen. Oh my God, you guys have been great. That was part 2 of the Should We Organize and Start a Motorcycle Club series? Why should we do it? We hope you enjoyed that awesome 2-part series. All right, guys, it's going to be evergreen content. We're going to refer people back to it. Thanks for everybody that was in the chat room and all that. And the GoPro raffle, guys. All right, do not forget the GoPro raffle. lawabidingbiker.com/GoPro. It's for a $400 value, a Hero 3 Silver GoPro camera. It's got a touch screen, 4K capabilities. It's awesome. It's limited to 100 tickets, guys. So take action right now. Get on your iPhone. Get on your Android. If you're listening on the computer or live, get on it. Go to a web browser, lawabidingbiker.com/GoPro. $10 a ticket, limited to 100 tickets. You get the GoPro sent to you if you get drawn out of a hat. All the extra proceeds go right here, right in to the Law Abiding Biker fuel tank, so we can keep bringing services and we can keep putting gas in the tank. All right, guys, to keep on going down the road. Been awesome. Don't forget the Lab Podcast hotline. Call in, give us your thoughts, give us your feedback, 509-731-3548, or an internet voicemail. Leave it right from your computer anywhere in the world. It's free of charge. lawabidingbiker.com/voicemail. Leave us a voicemail. We will answer it. We may even play it on an episode. We've got some pending that we'll be playing in upcoming episodes. Get on the free email club so you know when we come out with our new free tutorial and review videos. lawabidingbiker.com/email club. Take you about 30 seconds. All right, guys, if you can't donate and you can't do Patreon or anything like that, you can certainly take action if you're not in that financial situation to rate us on iTunes, lawabidingbiker.com/iTunes, lawabidingbiker.com/Stitcher Radio if you're on that platform. What does that do for us and for you? It makes sure that we get bumped up in search rankings. More bikers around the world come together. The biker revolution continues. That's right. Large and in charge of the motorcycle scene. We can all join together. And so there you go. You'll allow other bikers to find us. God bless. Peace out. I got to ask you one question. What are you freaking waiting for, bikeaholics? Get out there and ride already. Keep the rubber side down.
And the shiny side up.
Thanks, Jakey and LD. That was a long episode.
No problem. We enjoyed it.
Fun as always.